Britishers got the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa in 1765. The major aim of British East India Company was to increase their land revenue collection, so its policies were aimed at getting the maximum income from land without caring about its cultivators. They introduced the policy of revenue collection by abandoning the age-old system of revenue administration. The entire burden of the company's profits, the costs of its administration, and its expenses on war and conquests were mainly borne by the cultivators.
Now that we've seen how revenue was collected in the British era, let's move to the present and see how land revenue is collected in the present times, that is, through the revenue settlement process. According to Section 64 of the CGLRC, the state government may appoint an officer called the settlement officer to be in charge of a revenue survey and or settlement, and as many deputy settlement officers and assistant settlement officers as it thinks fit.
Hello, I'm Ruchira Doshi. And I'm Vishali Asani.
Hi, I'm Riya Kampala and I'm the Sarpanch of Chhatrapur village. Come have a seat.
Thank you. So we are the settlement officers. We are appointed by the state government, and we're here to conduct the land survey of your village settlement.
I did receive the notification regarding the same. So could you briefly tell me why do you need to conduct this revenue survey?
So, see, you might be aware that land is a very limited resource, and especially in areas like villages, it's very common for land disputes to occur and conflict of interest regarding land to occur. And it's a very prevalent phenomena that the haves and the privileged people can easily supersede the advantages that have-nots or the underprivileged people in the society deserve. Thus, land to whatever purpose applied wherever situated is the asset and responsibility of the state government. And when the state government takes responsibility, the person using it or owning it is liable to pay a certain amount for the same to the government. So we conduct a survey so that we understand what amount of payment does the government need to take from a particular person based on various factors like the purpose for which it is being used, the amount of land a person owns, and so on. So this is why we are here to conduct the survey.
Okay, understood. So what are your requirements in order to conduct this survey?
So we would require certain documents, and the documents will be required for division of land into survey number and for grouping of the land into villages. The particulars will be, my officer will let you know about the particulars.
Okay, so what we will be needing from you is the records of the existing survey numbers so we can revisit them and revise them if need be, and the measurement of the land in order to form new survey numbers. And we also need to determine the ability of the village in order to conduct further requirements and to update our records. We also need field map and soil classification records that we might have. And in case we need anything else, we will let you know.
Okay, so I provide you with all the documents that I have presently with me, and for the rest of the information that you need, we can conduct the land survey.
Thank you.
Hi, I am the Revenue Settlement Officer. My powers under the CGLRC are: I have the power to transfer all applications and proceedings pending before me to the collector, who shall then have my powers at his disposal. On the other hand, the state government can order the collector to transfer the duty of maintaining maps and records to me, and then I can exercise all the powers conferred upon the collector.
Okay, so this is the land under my jurisdiction, and now you can conduct the survey over here.
So we'll be dividing this entire land into survey numbers, and then we'll be grouping this into villages. So I think we can start, if you permit, we can start taking the measurement of this. Thank you. We can divide the lands, and then we can take measurements.
Once you are done with the survey, the land is assessed so that the settlement can be done. Settlement is the result of the operations carried out in accordance with this part, in continuation of revenue survey, in order to determine or revise the land revenue payable on lands in any local area. Once the revenue survey in a particular area is closed, the state government shall issue a notice under Section 67, Subclause 1 of the CGLRC. If it decides that settlement operations should be undertaken in the local area in which revenue survey is closed, it shall publish a notification to that effect under Section 76 of the CGLRC, and such areas shall be held to be under settlement from the date of such notification until the announcement of settlement under Section 82 in respect of a land in the local area is complete. This notification under Section 76 must be issued within 5 years from the date of issue of notice. Otherwise, a record of rights shall be prepared under Section 108 before the settlement operations are undertaken. Under Section 77, on completing the necessary inquiries as may be prescribed, the settlement officer shall forward to the state government his proposals for assessment rates for different classes of land. Then the state government may approve the assessment rates with any modification required or they deem fit.
Now we will discuss the various principles of assessment. As per Section 81 of CGLRC, in case of agricultural land, the following shall be considered: the profits of agricultural consideration paid for leases to sale price of land, principal monies on mortgages. In case of non-agricultural land, the value of the land for the purpose for which it was held should be considered. Furthermore, where an improvement has been effected at any time in any holding for the purpose of agriculture, the fair assessment of such holding shall be fixed in a way as if the improvement had not been made.
For the purpose of determining the profits of agriculture, the following elements shall be taken into account: the depreciation of stock and buildings, the money equivalent to the cultivator's and his family's labor and supervision, interest on the cost of buildings and stock and on expenditure for seed and on cost of agricultural operations paid for in cash.
Since the assessment for this land is fixed, I am releasing a notice for the same. The assessment rate which was fixed is your land revenue from now. See, it generally commences from the beginning of the revenue year next following the date of announcement or from the expiry of the previous term of settlement, whichever is later. For you, the revenue year next is the later date, which will begin from the first of the next month.
I am the Bhumiswamy and I am very disappointed with the new assessment, therefore I relinquish my rights under Section 173 of CGLRC. Hence, as per Section 84 of CGLRC, I should receive a remission of any increase imposed thereby.
The term of settlement will either be not less than 30 years or it may be less than 30 years but not less than 20 years in the following areas where, firstly, there is ample scope for extension of cultivation for agricultural development. Secondly, where the pitch of rent is unduly low. Thirdly, where there has been a rapid development of resources. And fourthly, construction of railways, roads and canals.
Thank you for your cooperation here. Now the collector will proceed to conduct the revenue settlement process in Bogota.
So why are you not conducting the survey over there?
So see, Chhatrapur is the rural part of the tehsil, whereas Bogota is the urban part of the tehsil. The process for revenue settlement in an urban area and a rural area is different because of a lot of logistics. So the collector is empowered according to the CGLRC to conduct revenue settlement process in an urban area. So he'll be conducting it over there. Since the area is a lot wider and more diverse in the urban areas, so the land is distributed into blocks and then into plot numbers there. So that's not within my jurisdiction. So I think the collector does it